Until the end of time, we will speak of peace. Anica with the Pleiadians. Today, we are speaking with an old friend, the Pleiadians. While we who speak from the League of Light are as well Pleiadian, we are nearly all from the world of the stellar neighborhood of Taygeta, called Temur. We will be in contact in this message with Pleiadians of the star Alcyone from a cluster of worlds. We as Pleiadian humans have a shared history in many ways, though each world carries its own unique history. What we wish to focus on in this communication is our perspective on the present set of circumstances now at play in your world, and how we together can arrive at the next moment as allies with a common future. Long ago, our momentary escape from the clutches of empire led our people into reflection on what it meant to be who and what we claimed to be. Proud of what we carried within ourselves as genetic codes and civilizational memory, we gave ourselves what you might call a reality check. The iron fist of cold, unyielding power over our world retracted long enough for our people to gather, breathe the sweet air of freedom, and come together with a shared envisioning for our future survival as free and uncomplicated beings, a race of humans who had settled on a new and distant land which present generations called home. Together, our ancestors had created a new civilization on an alien land, living in peace with each other and with those who had welcomed their arrival as guests, settlers, and finally family. Thousands of generations ago, you see, there was a great scattering of humanity. Many new civilizations came to be in the aftermath. The common bond of humanity links these worlds, including ours and yours. The menace that initiated the diaspora creeps yet through realities within the nest of this galactic home, stealthily moving into more obvious view, making themselves ready in the event of the breach they have long had planned. Now is the moment for fight or flight for this shadowy presence, and it all depends on how much light you can carry together. Let us explain. When our worlds fell next on the marauding path of imperial expansionist forces, our people had already begun to forget the reality of ancestral fleets carrying cargo of DNA from the very cradle of human civilization in the wake of frantic fighting of proportions difficult to comprehend. The trauma of remembering lay too heavy a protective blanket of forgetfulness over the minds of many, while fear exploded in anger and violence from others to stave off the pain of recollection. We had come together somehow to emerge as a human civilization from the oppressive forces which stood ready to move in closer to their prey. This was the point at which our whole human population took a decision that brought us into direct confrontation with the dark side of memory, fear, and repression. Your human population stands at such a point today. We saw in each other the monster we most feared becoming. Those who chose violence saw weakness and mindless surrender, and those who chose hopeless grief saw madness uncontrolled, uncontrollable. Those who saw these extremes as facets of the same thing, who understood the fear but were unafraid of it, those who dared to remember what humanity had once achieved, led the way through the edgy territory of fear, anger, and disarray with the single shared thought, we remember who we are. This was the call that led us all home eventually and saved our people from losing themselves in the onslaught of the makers of fear's projection. Suffice this to be an introduction to our particular history and to assure you of our understanding of your world's present moment. Our people brought to the forefront of awareness the legacy of humanity within the light of remembrance of our shared divinity, sovereignty, and power to create. We know of other worlds who, like ours, like yours, confronted the specter of humanity subjugated, divided by the chaos engendered by fear's manifest agents, by projections of diminished energetics. In the now that you have before you as a future yet to be, the way forward must be the way which annuls the carelessness of entropy and the blindness of rage. It must do away with the paradigm of polarity and find the way through. The means of getting to the free and fair world are within reach the moment you release polarity as the basis for everything and embrace love as the underlying reality of all things. Once you realize that love makes its own rules apart from and outside the bounds of polarity, you no longer need the quest for freedom, as you will be in another kind of reality altogether, in which freedom becomes more of a state in which you naturally know yourself to be than something you profess to have. The difference is mighty. Your fears can take form as easily as they can dissolve. For those who live within the reality of fear, regardless of how they arrive there, the way can seem lost. Likewise, for those locked in the reality of an angry, fueled world ablaze, stolen. These are realities our people grappled with and escaped. We overcame polarity to find not a middle way, but a higher one. We look into the heart of humanity on your world, and we see ourselves in reflection. As we have done, so can you. We await your total decision and encourage you to put aside that which keeps you locked in a reality that threatens to undermine your full expression as humans, or which separates you from each other in any way. Dare to see the humanity in another who stands apart from you. Don't be afraid. Love is not lost. It is what binds you together and what transforms your world and your reality. The great shift which you are experiencing now will leave you quite a changed people. We greet you as our kin, friends, and neighbors in peaceful transition of new light. This is Anica's commentary. Lost but not completely is the pathway to remembrance. To find it, you must be willing to put to one side all that you use to define yourselves within the illusion of highly polarized light. As frightening as that may feel, it is necessary to be free of anything which magnetizes you to one idea or another which is born of highly charged emotion or conceptualization. Thus demagnetized, you are free to come into full awareness of self in the light of self-knowledge, rather than belief. It is a sure path from there to the remembrance which gives your world the common identity as a people of a free and sovereign world. Be free in this way, and in the full knowledge of love's power to transform.